have to keep your gear clean. With saddle pads, time needs to be allocated to soaking them in a bucket and then letting them soak overnight or something like that, or putting them in a washing machine if you can't put something like that in a washing machine. And cleaning them out, you can rinse them, hit them with a pressure cleaner, works really well. The thicker the pad, the more room there is in there to take a little bit of sweat. Whereas a thin pad like this, if that's against the horse, that will fill with sweat really quickly. So you'll have to wash this much more often than these. And they're still not too hard to clean. I just soak them overnight, hit them with a pressure cleaner. Pressure cleaner is a great way to wash pads. They just push all the dirt out. They're quite aggressive. They're great. This pad is bordering on needing a wash. He's not stiff at all, so he's not actually that full of sweat, but he is getting due for a wash. So what I would do is if I knew I had a day off, I would wash that pad in that afternoon, and then it can have a day to dry off during my day off. It's right to go on the next day. You see the difference of either side. And if you drop it in the dirt, always brush it off, rub your hand and feel that there's no burrs or bindi eye, prickles. It's really important. It'd be like having bindi eyes in your underpants. It'd be very unpleasant. There's three main fabrics people use for bridles, either leather, webbing, or PVC. For station work, I actually prefer the PVC. They're quite strong, they're quite cheap, and they're the lowest maintenance. And basically you just need to wipe them down now and then. Probably the easiest way to wash them is just to dump them in a bucket or a trough, and then just give them a rinse in a trough, and then it'll take rubs the surface sweat off and keeps the bit clean. Whereas these actually store a lot of sweat. Really gets into the fabric, it gets very stiff and it'll start to rot the fabric. So you actually, even though it's synthetic, it actually needs a fair bit of cleaning. You need to wash these pretty regularly. And leather takes a lot of maintenance too, because the humidity and the moisture combined with the sweat really gets in. It can really rot the leather. So it really needs to be kept clean, and it needs to have saddle soap or a dressing put on it to protect it from sweat and moisture. You can see this bit here has got saliva and probably a bit of horse food and remains on the bit, so it needs a clean. Put into a bucket of water for a little bit. If it's fresh, it'll wash straight off. But if it's been on there a while, you might just need to get a brush and really just clean that off, because that there can rub on the horse's mouth. So it needs to be kept clean. So with your counterline saddles, you just got to make sure that underneath, always sort of just rub your hands along, make sure that there's not something sharp in there or a prickle, and just keep it clean. If you have one of these flaps here, because they're against the horse, get very sweaty, and you can see it's quite stiff, and they really need regular cleaning and oiling. So this girth here, looking at the quality of this girth, you can see that that's got a real split. Look at that. So if that was on a horse, I can feel if I put my finger in there and pull it around like that, that really bites into my hand, because this stuff's got quite a sharp edge, and it really just bites in here. Okay, so that needs replacing, because that's going to pinch a horse or it's going to rub them. So that really needs to be replaced. Now similarly, this girth's had its day too, because you can see that these cords have broken, and these two aren't very well supported, so pretty soon they will break, and all of a sudden you've only got half the girth holding on, and you could be in for a big wreck. So this girth is due for a retirement as well. Whereas this girth, whilst in good condition, needs a wash. Like I say, I find once they're rinsed for a while, pressure cleaners are great and really force the mud and dirt out. This here, you can see this is starting to fray. This hole was originally burnt right there, but you can see that that's torn from there to there. Okay, so, and similarly, see this one here? It's torn from there all the way down to there. So that needs replacing, because it's just starting to tear, And if it tears, if I'm on a horse and it bucks or I'm galloping around and suddenly that tears and lets go, I'm in a world of trouble. So looking at this here, it looks okay through here. Then when you start getting down here, you can see that's really starting to deteriorate. See that? Look at that. So it's just rotting. So that needs replacing.